Hi everyone, welcome to Legally Yours. I'm so excited today because I have the wonderful Alex Nicol from Aptum Legal with me today, and we're actually going to get to understand a little bit more about Aptum Legal and what's it all about. So thank you so much for joining me today.
My pleasure, Karen.
Okay, so my question is, tell me the story behind Aptum Legal and what was the purpose behind forming it?
So my business partner and I come from relatively diverse backgrounds. He was at the Victorian Bar as a commercial barrister for 11 or 12 years, and I sort of worked my way up through various commercial law firms around Melbourne, most recently at a sort of mid-tier firm that had offices across Australia. And we worked together a little bit, briefing him as a barrister, and worked out that we just shared some ideals about, first and foremost, the way in which litigation was practiced in Australia, and the value that was being delivered to clients by law firms. And initially that was around just a general conversation, and eventually we worked out that we thought we had a good offering to market between us, and we brought different skills that complemented each other quite well. And so it sort of went relatively quickly from those sorts of conversations over a coffee through to saying we'll launch the business. So
amazing.
And it was just about being passionate about providing something that was different to the market, and hopefully that then flowed through to creating a place that people really love to work.
Absolutely. And it's really interesting because obviously you two coming from different starts, one from the bar and obviously you know, as a solicitor. So what was it that you identified that perhaps was lacking, or there were the difficulties when you were having those conversations with the way that litigation matters were being run? What was it sort of around?
A lot of it was around the value proposition. You know, clients and people at large in the community are a bit cynical about lawyers and about whether it's even worthwhile going to see a lawyer because of that value proposition. And you know, a lot of people probably don't even pursue a piece of litigation because they're scared of the cost of it. And unfortunately, a lot of people end up in a situation where they spend more money than they end up recovering, which is obviously not a particularly good proposition. When if you knew that beforehand, you would just sit and move on with life. So we were determined to create, you know, proportionality in what we were doing. So if you were pursuing a piece of litigation, you can adjust your strategy in order to provide a proposition that is still worthwhile for a client. And in order to do that, you need to practice a little bit differently than has been the case with time-based billing firms, where you know, you get rewarded for your inefficiency. We're quite the opposite. We get punished for our inefficiency, and that means that you know, our interests align more directly with the clients.
Absolutely, and we will have another episode where we'll deep dive into exactly how you do that invoicing structure and what that's all about. I guess just to finish off, what I was interested in talking about, so I know for both yourself and Nigel, the educational aspect of educating your clients around that matter forms quite a big part of it, because you actually do spend a lot of time explaining to them all of the options, which I know is part of your process. Is that quite rewarding in the sense that you're able to really share that information? So whenever anyone then does pursue a litigation, they 100% are fully informed of what's going to happen.
Yeah, I mean, it's crucial for the way we want to practice, and it means that you need to do it at a very early stage. And I think the days of clients coming to lawyers and putting it in their hands and just saying, we trust you know what you're doing, so we'll leave it in your hands. They have enough knowledge to know vaguely what should be done, and they go to lawyers for that sort of sharp end of expertise. So they want proof that you know what you're doing, and partly that's knowing their matter back to front. And you know, we talked about the pricing model a moment ago. It's essential for us, because if we don't understand the facts and the law around what we're being asked to give advice on, then we can't provide a good product to the client, and we can't provide it at a price that is both proportionate to the dispute and profitable for us as a firm.
Gosh, absolutely. And I guess as well, you know, in relation to that, it's just so important that they then get to understand and make the informed choice themselves. I know I have a lot of lawyers that make comments to me that litigation is extremely hard to fix, and or if clients knew all the processes and how much it was going to cost, they'd never ever pursue it. What's your experience with that? Because you know, is that the case? Do you sometimes, I guess, over-educate or provide too much information, the clients choose not to do it? And what do you say to that?
Litigation is hard to fix a price for, but just because it's hard doesn't mean that it's impossible, or indeed that you shouldn't be doing it. Is the starting proposition for us. I think sometimes clients can be put off a little bit because our model requires that upfront work, and we do price, that preliminary work, and
Yes.
sometimes other lawyers will go sort of undercut what we might propose,
Right.
and say we can do this work for X amount,
Okay.
and we'll quote a higher price for the first month of work.
Okay.
In our experience, and we've had 2 or 3 of these come back to us,
Yeah.
when they've said, you're way too expensive, we're going to go down the road.
Okay.
They've come back to us 2 months later and said, oh, the initial estimate of this other lawyer actually ended up being more than
Wow.
what you quoted.
Okay.
Just because, they don't go to the effort of thinking about what they're going to be doing over those first 2 months. They just start working,
Yes.
and when you bill on a time-based, that racks up pretty quickly.
Yes.
So we think that clients can be put off by that upfront cost, but if they understand and appreciate the value they're getting from that work, then inevitably they can see what they're getting for their money.
Absolutely, I love it. And we absolutely love working and referring clients to Aptum Legal. We think you're one of the best in the business, so thank you. So if you'd like to know more about Alex Nichol or Aptum Legal, you can head to our website at legallyyours.com.au, or you can head to Aptum Legal Direct. Thanks so much for watching.
Thanks, Karen.
Thanks.